that because you're sensitive?
Yeah. Maybe. Push the button on the side.
Going.
The red one.
None of them are red.
The clear one.
Yeah, the clear one's not doing anything.
Okay, see if it's plugged in all the way at the bottom. Now see if it's red.
Oh, I heard him hit the mic. That's it. I did it. I also broke it in the process.
That's a easy things, Maya. Fix them and break them.
Sorry, buddy.
That's my point.
They look so upset.
You know, if you
Not
hurt your
very
ball.
well is how I was related.
Testing.
I can hear you.
Yay.
We have another class signed up to be in here. I don't know if they'll trickle in or not.
Okay.
So they don't have kids with Salty?
No. I think it's with Hutton's class. Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Sorry. Let me turn you.
That's okay.
You're gonna want to move her.
They can't see you,
She's
Kylie.
only gonna be able to see your bum.
I'm sorry. I'm moving.
Hi, Kylie.
I'm plugging my.
Hi, Kylie's boyfriend Dave.
Krista?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Are we ready to go?
Go.
No.
Yes, go. G-O, go.
Okay. All right, well, we'll start by introducing ourselves. My name is Kylie. I'm Miss Talty's sister.
My name is Gabriel, and she puts up with me, so I hang around her quite a bit. Just a little background, I went to school in Carl Junction, Missouri. I went to high school, so I'm from down around the Joplin area. I graduated university at Missouri State, with a degree in public relations and a minor in journalism, although I did quite a bit of theater. Theater was my major to start. So I spent quite a bit of time in and around theater and theater people.
I was a little closer to Lebanon. I graduated from Stratford. I think most of you probably know where that is. It's pretty small. But I went to Missouri State after that, graduated with a degree in marketing. And not long after that, we decided to move to Taiwan. So I was serving and I'd just gotten out of college and we decided to move. He actually had a job in marketing.
Yeah, I was working, whenever we kind of decided to go on this worldwide adventure, I was already working in marketing. I worked in marketing for about 2 years in the animal health industry for a distributor. So yeah, it was exactly as exciting as it sounds, which was not very exciting at all. Marketing, sitting behind a desk, marketing dog food and dog treats.
Yeah, so I guess we'll start from there. When we decided to look for jobs outside of the United States, we both decided that we loved traveling. Who doesn't? But we figured we're young and why not try to figure out a way, if it's possible, to make money overseas. So we looked into a couple different things like cruise ship, like working on a cruise ship, but that's a lot of work, surprisingly. That's not as much fun time as you would think.
It's not as much fun time as you would think. But I had known about teaching English overseas, or ESL work, English as a second language work. I'd known about that for a few years, and I brought it up to her. She really liked the idea. Both of our degrees had a lot to do with language. Like I said, I had a public relations degree with a minor in journalism, so I'd done a ton of writing and a ton of speaking, and the same for her. So it really kind of jived, with our skill set. We did get a TEFL, what's called a TEFL certification, teaching English as a foreign language. It's TEFL certification. That's something you can get online. It's not that difficult to get, frankly.
Yes, so neither one of us had our degree in teaching, but you don't have to teach English as a second language, ESL. You just need the certificate and then a degree, a college
It
degree.
depends on where you're going to. So if you're going to Japan, it's going to be extremely competitive. So South Korea, they're relatively competitive. South Korea pays quite a bit, but they have very strict, stringent rules as far as who can teach. Japan, like I said, everybody wants to go to Japan. It's crowded and really highly competitive. China is an emerging market for ESL teachers.
Middle East.
They will just throw money at you. In the Middle East and in China, they will just they just desperately want English teachers. But the Middle East, you have some severe cultural differences, and in China, there are some pretty heavy cultural differences related to government. So
Yeah, so we chose Taiwan, which is
the other
history-
China.
The other China. So Taiwan is a small country off of China, and China actually claims it as their own.
Yeah.
But Taiwan says, no, we're our own country, so they have some interesting history.
It was strange to a country where they were kind of still, the conflict between mainland China and Taiwan never really ended. They just stopped fighting. And the United States mostly stands between Taiwan and China to keep them from being at each other's throats.
So like if you're watching the Olympics, you will never see Taiwan on there. It'll always say Republic of China.
Or Chinese Taipei or something like that, because China kind of holds Taiwan hostage to the rest of the world and says, well, if you want to work with us, if you want to work with our economic power, if you want to work with our government, you can't recognize Taiwan as its own country. You have to recognize it as part of our country. But Taiwan has its own government, it has its own money. In its last election, maybe 4 years ago, it elected its first female president, Tsai Ing-wen.
Yeah.
And it's got a very progressive government, a thriving media, free press. It's not state-owned, as in China. It's really a wonderful place. And when we first arrived there, it felt really different. When you do this and you go to a different country, I don't know how many of you have been to different countries, but everything is different. Every smell, every sight, lights, everything is different. And it's a real assault on your senses.
It is, yeah. When we first got there, we got off how long was the plane ride?
Oh.
The whole process took almost 30 hours. One of our plane rides from the States to Korea was 14 hours, 15 hours,
Yeah.
which is just as awful as you might imagine.
Yeah, so we went from Springfield to get to Taiwan, we went from Springfield to Chicago, Chicago to Korea, Korea to Taiwan. And from Chicago to Korea, it was a 15-hour flight, 15 hours in the air, which is one of the longer flights that you can even take
Yeah,
in the entire world.
it was
anywhere.
rough.
Yeah.
And then we get there, so we already had a contract with our school to teach there. We went through a recruiter, and they helped us through the whole process. And they said, somebody will be there at the airport to pick you up. So we get there, and of course we're in a daze. Everything is new. I mean, looking around, it's a total shock to
Might
your
as well be a
system.
different planet.
Yeah, and we get there, and nobody from the school is there, but there's just this guy who he's a little rough looking, was holding a sign that said our names.
He didn't speak English.
Didn't speak any English. So we get to Taiwan, shock. We are getting in a car with a guy that we don't know and who doesn't speak English.
Yeah,
So you can imagine how we were feeling in the backseat of that taxi cab.
like we were totally insane.
Yeah.
Like we had totally lost our minds, and this was the result. But it, of course, all turned out okay.
He took us to where we needed to go, to the hotel.
Right, and we had contact with our school pretty quickly. Just so you know, if anybody is interested in doing this, we have resources. We have a blog online that you can look at, and we have information about all of this as far as teaching English online. She mentioned that we had a recruiter. In some countries, you will have recruiters. There's enough money in the industry to where there's recruiters. Some industries like Vietnam, maybe not as much, or Cambodia, maybe not as much. But you can still get jobs. You may contact the schools directly. So you can either go through schools directly, or you can go through recruiters, and there's different perks.
And there's a very high demand for it. But
Yeah.
if you just go over there and walk down the street, you could go into a school and probably get a job.
Yeah,
The
but
requirements are you're a native English speaker. Yeah.
and you have to have a degree of some sort, a 4-year degree of some kind.
But sometimes that is not
Even enforced.
Yeah, they're pretty lax on the laws with that, I think.
So culturally, America's greatest export is culture, and one of the reasons that they don't really care what your education is, or they may not care, so a lot of places don't, is because they really just kind of want your white face.